Hi, I'm Kathleen.
I'm Tom.
I'm Hillary.
And you're watching
Word of Mouth.
As a boy, I came to understand two things marked my family: distinctive names and extreme stubbornness. My parents named me after my grandfather, Thurgood, Thoroughood. By second grade, I got tired of writing out all those letters. I cut it to Thurgood.
We saw Thurgood, which is a one-man show about Justice Thurgood Marshall, who was the first black justice on the Supreme Court.
Thurgood Marshall was still on the Supreme Court when I was in law school, and if you take constitutional law, you can't discuss anything in the 20th century without Thurgood Marshall having a hand in it. So I felt like I had a fairly good sense of what Thurgood Marshall's career was already about.
Because I'm in education, I knew about Brown v. the Board of Education, so I knew about that. And in my professional journals, when it was the 50th anniversary, which was in 2004, I received a lot of information, and that really was when I first found out that it was Thurgood Marshall. I didn't know that he was the lawyer for that until I started reading it in my professional journals.
When he became Justice of the Supreme Court, just personally, it was something that, wow, he, especially as he got older, because you're saying, what an accomplishment, that he did that during the time that he did, which I thought was critical.
The setting is that he is at Howard University giving a talk to students, and he goes through his life story, and he's telling the students how he came to be where he was.
He's basically speaking to us as an audience, telling us about his life, his legal career especially. So we're really part of that, because he's looking at the audience, he's interacting with the audience, kind of responding to some of the audience at times, and it was just a very effective way to present this show.
At times it veers away from the lecture, but the play really did feel to me a lot of times kind of like you were sitting in a lecture, which I think is a problem, because lectures are boring, and theater shouldn't be boring.
It wasn't just a tutorial, it wasn't a lecture, it was a man telling us about who he was and what his motivations were and the high points and the low points of his life.
Lawrence Fishburne is telling anecdotes, basically, about what has happened. And they're just really fascinating little stories. And surprisingly, if the characterization is true, Thurgood Marshall had quite a sense of humor, because parts were very, very funny.
I feel like I got a better sense of what life was like for him growing up. I thought that was one of the better things about this play, was that it did give a more full, well-rounded picture of the man, rather than just what we know from his legal perspective on things.
Lawrence Fishburne was mesmerizing. He brought humanity to someone that we didn't know as a human being. We knew him as a picture of one of the Supreme Court justices.
Going in, he's a great actor, and he's a really good theater actor. He takes Thurgood Marshall and takes kind of this icon and makes him a human being, kind of brings him down to earth. You kind of get a glimpse of what he might have been like hanging out at home, just talking to friends. That's the kind of the context of the show.
I don't think it's this juggernaut of raw, unbridled talent that's where you really forget that you're watching a one-man show and you're really absorbed in this person's life. And you feel like he's become this completely different character. It's not. I mean, he's effective, but he's not stunning.
I really wasn't familiar with Lawrence Fishburne's stage work before. I had seen some of his movies, and I felt he was so compelling that you could call this a tour de force performance.
I think the civil rights movement and the struggles behind it are. Really, there would be opportunities in telling this story to really put a lump in people's throats, but this play doesn't do that at all.
It was very moving to me because of how recent it is in history that this happened, and how far we've come in 50 years. and things that I remember from being a child. You know, kind of, I remember the civil rights movement. I was a child in the 60s, and I didn't quite understand what was going on, but I remember these images on TV, and I certainly remember when Martin Luther King was assassinated. So these were things that were very real to me in my life and in my family.
It's moving when he talks about what happened to him, his fear. Like at one point he thought that he was going to be lynched because of a crowd that didn't like the fact that he was one of the cases he was defending, and the audience does respond to him. You hear reactions in the audience of applause and sadness and oh, that kind of thing, so that you feel enraptured in what he's doing.
I don't think this play is for everybody. I think a lot of people would probably be bored by the play. If people really are interested in Thurgood Marshall and they're really interested in learning more about his life outside of his professional career, I would say, you know, it's okay, but it's really, I mean, the play for me was very much a mixed bag, and I don't think that I'm going to be urging people to go see it.
I would recommend this to just about anybody. This is something, it's an important part of history. If you think you know it, it's not bad to be reminded. It kind of keeps us grounded to know what came before us. For people who maybe are younger and don't understand what happened in the 40s, 50s, and 60s and how critical it was to our history, then they should see this too. It's a very easy way to ease into the subject matter.
I feel that everyone should see this play. And I know that lately in plays in New York that have been all-black productions, that the audiences have been primarily minority audiences, and that dismays me because I've seen all those plays and everyone should see them. And I think with this play as well, that everyone should see this play, that this Thurgood Marshall affected all of our lives, and it shouldn't just be African Americans who go see this play. We all should go see this play.
Did everything in my power to protect the civil rights of every American citizen. I wrote opinions based on the First Amendment. And I believe that no matter what justifications there may be for states regulating obscenity, it does not extend into the privacy of one's own home. If the First Amendment means anything, it means that no state has any business telling a man sitting alone in his own home what books he can read or what films he can watch.